his ideas, this is definitely still his. And I think he's been also exceptional at, if on the creative side of things, and how maybe the company wants to angle the character. And that's the one thing that he can't control. And I assume not. And again, I don't know to how far, but anything you come to understand, I don't think too many people have a lot of creative control over their characters. Your character is what you're doing, and you can have control in that. But where it goes from there, I think that gets a lot of hands involved in that one.
Yeah.
I think we can clearly see that due to the amazing popularity of it is why we got this Seth Rollins feud, and then the belt, and then everything up. And then I think, as a fan, I'll say this honestly as anyone else, and I tell this to anybody else listening, you cornered yourself with that. You absolutely put your title on a character this is not about belts.
Yeah.
This is not about championships. And you put it on this invincible monster of a character. How are you going to get it off of him?
Right.
And as soon as they put the belt on him, I thought, good for him. As far as I was concerned, man to man, if this brings you, more lucrative stuff, if you're going to, really sweep it up with merchandise, and a belt means something, and I don't know all the ins and outs of wrestling contracts, and there's so many are different, and I don't care. But if that works out for you and your family, good for you. That's all. That's why I saw it. Get it while you can. But again, what are you going to do when that time's up? And that's personal opinion, I guess, on what people like and don't like or whatever. But I feel like, and I'm hoping, along with everyone else, that what we're going to finally be able to see now is kind of getting back to more of what it was meant to be.
Yeah, and I said that at some point in my interview, Joe, if you remember, the belt turned him into, he went from being the hunter to being the hunted, and now that he doesn't have it anymore, obviously we were very happy, but now he can go back to being the hunter again.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. So we've also gotten a lot of stuff from you as far as the progression is concerned. And now obviously today was absolutely off the wall. Because we got your artwork first, because we saw what looked like a chainsaw. We saw what looked like it looked like a lace almost with a little bit of blood there. We saw something look like stitches, and all I could think of, and it's funny you brought that up earlier, because all I could think of was Texas Chainsaw. I must have said Texas Chainsaw to Jeff and Jody a ton of times.
Yes. Yep.
But we got that, and now today we got a picture this morning, which I didn't even see until I woke up earlier and came. I'm like, oh my goodness. And right away we got a hold of each other and started talking about that picture that he put out today. And then we got the thing later than that from you, and it blew all of our minds. We were recording our show for the week, and all of a sudden we get this picture of that cabin. So is this something that, and again, whatever you can tell us and what you can is perfectly fine. But those kind of things, is that something that you're kind of ongoing with, like doing with him, or is this something that you're just doing, or is this some stuff that you're working on? Obviously we know you can't spoil anything, and that's, so whatever you can say and what you can is totally.
I kind of want to just answer yes and just leave it at that. It's such a loaded.
Like I said, man, don't whatever you're comfortable with. I don't want to force you into something you can't talk about.
I mean, I understand. If I was me listening, I would want to know too, and I'd be just as eager and excited and whatnot. So much of it falls into a legal category.
Sure, absolutely.
I will say that it's been in for some time now. There's still things that have been, at the very least, talked about, up to designed, and whatever goes from there, I don't know. I mean, understand that when it comes to Bray, he's kind of like the sun, and anyone else who's working with this is just planets revolving his orbit. That's all we are part of something bigger, and in a lot of ways don't even know what the whole story is to all of it. So I've been involved with other aspects and things there's things that we were doing early, at the time of the Fiend mask that we've done that have not happened yet.
Wow.
And now when I use the word yet, don't. I'm not. It's not
Right,
gospel.
right.
It could very well never happen. I don't
Sure.
know.
Sure.
But at times during conversations, and I don't pester, and I might be like, hey, one time I did, you think we're gonna, and I brought up what it was and whatnot, and the answer was, yeah, it's one. It may be things that are, I would say, okay, I'll put it this way too. His creative side of it, he's running with this, whether they want him to or not, or whether anyone else. This isn't anyone going, hey, what about this? And he's like, okay, I'll get on that. This is him just holding tight to the reins of this and really pushing it as far as he can go. And even when storyline wise or character wise, they might have done things that are not quite what he maybe would have wanted. And again, I'm speculating, so don't quote me. But if there are things that maybe he didn't quite want, or maybe wouldn't have been what he wanted to do, what he's been a genius at is getting on his Twitter and steering the ship back to true north. He manages to find a way to right a wrong or to keep it coherent so it doesn't become a jumbled mess. As an example, we all kind of remember whenever Seth Rollins showed up in the Funhouse on TV, that didn't make sense.
Right.
Why would Seth be in the Funhouse? The Funhouse, I don't think has ever been necessarily a physical landmark, or wasn't intended to be, maybe. And so when that happened, I think Bray's first comment online after that was, how did you find it? Did you die? Something almost implying like this isn't on this plane of existence. So he's found ways to kind of go, okay, let's address this. And I can speculate on others. This is not coming from him. There's my guesses in it too. But there's avenues and other aspects of the character that he wants to do. There are other things involved in what he's doing where, someone else might come in who has the say, hey, well, let's do this. And he's got to be like, he has to kind of counter offer or say, hey, let's go and do this instead. So it's not to say that you're wrong when I say that he's in control, but you are working for a company. And so there are going to be, with anyone, there's going to be limitations on what you can kind of get away with and what you can do. But all that said, what I can say is that anything that he's asked me to do for him has not been, to my knowledge, shot down. So if things continue with what he's wanted to do, the way that he's described them to me, I've said it for months, and it keeps holding true. It's just a little bit slower, given probably the title reign and so forth. But you really haven't seen anything yet